Well, good folk, today on the Old Curiosity Shop, it's a tale of two lamps. So go and get yourself a cup of coffee and I'll be right back.
There's an old curiosity shop. Every once in a while I go by there for the fond recollections that lie there in that old curiosity shop.
Okay, I'm back. I've got two lamps to tell you about. This one I've had for quite a while, and I told you months and months and months ago that I was going to talk about it, and I never did. Same with this one. Well, today's the day, and you know what? When we finish this video up today, I will also tell you, well, I better not tell you until the video is over. Yeah, let's wait until it's over. Okay, how about this one? What does it look like? Well, it's obviously a table lamp base, yeah? But it's a little different from this one. Now, they both date to about the same era. We can put both of these in that sort of 20s and 30s era. This one maybe a little bit low. Well, this one definitely a little bit older than this one. Let's talk about this one first. This lamp weighs 5.5 pounds. That's heavy. It's a lot heavier than this one. And this is what's called, the process to manufacture a lamp like this is called electroforming. Now, you may say, well, I've heard of electroplate, yeah, silverware and stuff like that, and a lot of jewelry. What's electroforming? And how do you know? Aha! Here's one of the ways we know. I'm going to turn this lamp upside down, and normally we look at it first before we look at the bottom. But in this case, we're going to cut right to the chase. I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to zoom in here, and my camera won't focus, so what I'll probably do is insert a photograph. But first, as we zoom in, I want you to look, and we're going to see right here. Aha, wait a minute, what is that? Well, let's get in there. Let's see if we can see. It looks like there's a small crater, like some of this whatever has been chipped away. Gee, that feels like plaster. Well, guess what? It is a kind of a plaster. Now that is a little metal hook. Oh, about the thickness of a curtain rod, I guess. And we'll stick a photograph in right there. That's a little bit closer. You can see that. Now that hook is bent under itself, curled under, like an ingrown hair will sort of curl under. And then the plaster around it is sort of chipped away so that can be full. You see, when this sits on the table, we don't want that metal piece scratching Granny's mahogany occasional table. And there was probably a piece of felt undoubtedly applied to the bottom of this, which is long gone. But that little metal hook right there is one of the keys that tells us this thing was turned upside down and suspended in a bath. So what is the difference between electroforming and electroplating? Well, this being an electroformed piece, this was lowered into a bath, yeah, of either bronze or copper, and a current passes through an electrode, and it causes the plaster core. Now, the inside of this is plaster. And when this is down inside of this bath, it takes a while, but a skin will develop over the plaster core, and that's what we've got here. Now this, and then it gets pulled out, but that little hook is still there. Well, that's down inside the plaster. You're not going to get that out. And that's the reason why they curl it under and sort of tuck it up into that little crater. So this has now a skin on it of either copper or bronze. And if you pay close attention and look very closely to it, you will see. Now, some of you are looking very closely and you're saying, look at that verdigris color that we see, which is that sort of green oxidation. You see it here, right? We definitely see it here and up in here as well. That's all natural. That happens with natural oxidation over time. And, copper and bronze both will develop this verdigris patina over time. And we don't want to remove that. We don't want to clean this. We don't even want to hardly dust it. Yeah. I'm going to go with bronze. Sometimes it's hard to tell unless you just have the metal core itself. This, with it being over the plaster, and it wouldn't be uncommon. In fact, we see bookends, lamp bases, picture frames, other small objects of art from the 1920s and 30s that were electroformed, and oftentimes it is a bronze. They're clad in bronze. This bronze skin develops, but they also did it with copper as well. The bronze will have more of a dull gold undertone to it, where the copper might look a little pinkish, kind of the way I don't like my steak. I kind of like it to be well done. I don't like to see any pink. But I don't really see the pink on this, and I'm going to go with bronze. But when I list this, did I just tell you what I did? I did. Well, wait a minute. Don't go to the eBay store yet. Okay, I just gave it away, I guess. This is in the eBay store, and I listed it as either bronze or copper. I'm leaning towards bronze, but I'm just putting that out there because I don't know for sure, and I never want to mislead anybody. There's no maker's mark on it, but it's the quality of a lamp that might have been made by the Armor Bronze company. Also, I think of Ronson, who made the lighters. Good grief. And those were manufactured also in the 1920s. So there were a handful of American companies that were electroforming. Now, I told you I'd kind of tell you the difference between electroform and electroplate. The electroforming is going to be a much, much thicker skin. Yeah, the electroplating is a very thin skin, basically. And with this, you can't tell, but I can by holding it and feeling it. And sometimes you'll tap in certain places and it'll almost sound like there's a hollow spot. Well, if there's an air bubble in between the plaster and the electroforming, whatever metal is used, you'll feel that. You have to just have these in your hands, and you'll be able to tell the difference. This one stands. Oh, I forget. I've got the measurements in the eBay store. That's a nice old socket with a beautiful old pull chain, and we can see this guy is all bent up, and that finial is a mess. This screws off and on. These are aftermarket pieces in some cases, and you can take that harp off. The harp is threaded and screwed onto the top of the socket. So this will accommodate a shade which requires a harp. If you have a shade that is a clip-on, as we say, that clips on to the light bulb, then you'll simply unscrew this, remove the harp, and then you can use any other shade that you want. Now, that is an old socket. That's an old, that's probably the original socket. But this lamp, when you bought these lamps, there could be one socket. There could be a cluster of two. Probably with a lamp this small, it was only one socket. But a cluster of two bulbs could be placed on this as well, and a nice old arts and craftsy shade. Now, this is quick. This is not meant to be, I'm not an expert on anything except running my mouth. So this is not the full definition, and you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. This is just telling you that when you see something that's coated in metal like this and you turn it upside down and that little hook thing is there, and it feels like a really thick layer of metal, it's probably got a plaster core, and it was almost undoubtedly electroformed rather than electroplated. That is a wonderful lamp base. A little arts and craftsy. Yeah, I love it. Let's put this on the floor. And somebody did rewire it at some time. Look at that great big, I always call these vacuum cleaner plugs. Let's look at another lamp. Now, I have to laugh. When I showed this, however long ago it was, somebody said, oh my goodness, that lamp looks like a tropical disease. I think that's hysterical, and I've never forgotten it. This lamp, probably from the same era as the other, and we see here that we have this wild-looking finish. Well, sometimes this is referred to as oxidized copper, or you'll often see this finish referred to as japanned. Japanned. Now, real japanning is a complicated process, like Japanese lacquer, that kind of thing. This is done in a factory, but that's not sprayed on. That's not baked. That won't scratch off or peel off. That is a finish that this occurs during manufacture, and this japanning, as they call it, you would see this on decorative metal. Even back into just after the turn of the century. In fact, let me slide over and take a look. What is that? That is the bed plate of an Edison phonograph. Look at it. Well, when you ordered an Edison machine, you could order one with a japanned finish. I believe there's another picture that's going to pop up as well. And you can see more of the metalwork on this, the reproducers, the bed plates, sometimes even the horn, the tone arm and such could be what's called japanned. And that's what you see in these photographs. And those machines go all the way back to 1905, 1910. Yeah. This has an arts and crafts feel to it. And it's lighter than, this heavy guy, because it is copper. And when we turn it upside down, the green felt is gone because someone rewired it. The little plastic doohickey here that substitutes as an underwriter's knot. And we can see that it's a cord that might have been put on, even in the 50s, who knows. But what I like about this lamp is, and you've already recognized it, look closely. How do we know that the socket and the harp are original? Because the socket is japanned, as well as the harp. I don't know, but whether or not you can see it, this is also retaining its japanned finish. Yeah? Japanned, oxidized copper, call it what you want. Maybe an acquired taste, I would have to say so. It's a little busy with this shirt, isn't it? And we also see the look of hammered copper, yeah? So as we look, it is covered in dimples. And you can see why somebody called it the tropical disease lamp. I hope that doesn't keep anybody from buying it. I thought it was a funny thing to say. And anyway, the socket is working beautifully. Please don't change that socket because of the japanning that's on it. Wonderful. So, circa 1920-ish. This one, a little bit after that. Copper lamps were still being made in the 30s. Yeah, and so this one may even be a lamp that goes up into the 30s. It could be, but it has that. This would be at home in any arts and crafts style house. Yeah, I think, as well as the electroformed lamp. Now, I don't have notes. This all comes from what I can pull out of the washing machine. I know that I'll watch this and say, "Oh, you forgot to say this, that, and the third." Well, if you have questions, put them in the question box below or discussion box below, and I'll try to answer them. But I want to show you a couple of other things. And we looked at these once before. Take a look at these bookends. Now I wonder if it is electroformed. If it is, I would expect it to be heavy with a plaster core. And when I turn it upside down, if I pull that felt off, I should see a plaster core with that little hook on it. Well, here's its mate. We've taken the green felt off the bottom of this one. I kind of knew even without taking that felt off that this is a patina sprayed on in the factory, and that is old spelter, or what we call monkey metal. And sometimes it can be very brittle, peanut brittle. These have held up well, but this one bookend must have gotten knocked over. This one, no worries. That one got knocked over, and it caused a tiny hairline of a split. Oh golly, down here at one of the feet. Hold it still, Scott. Hold it still. You're not going to be able to see it, but it just split in the tiniest spot, and a little bit of the patina is flaking off. Do you see that? Now, nothing is going to flake off of that one. No. And nothing is going to flake off of that one, because this is an applied patina to make it look like bronze. By the way, that little tiny split in the spelter, not a big deal at all. These have held up very well, and I may try to sell these again at some point. I think so. And then finally, this bookend, I have a pair of these, and I've known these all of my life, because as a boy growing up, these were in my father's home office, the room we called the den. And they were over on a bookshelf that went from the floor to the ceiling. The whole wall was bookshelf, and these sat there together on that shelf. Now, this is lightweight, and there's a tin or a piece of metal on the bottom. These aren't electroformed either. These are also spelter, monkey metal. It's a mixture of metal that doesn't always hold up well over time. And these have been given a patina, which we can see here, is a wonderful ebony, a black patina that we see on these, and they're stunning. These date obviously to the 1920s, because she ain't got no clothes on. She's got very flat chest, very skinny, yeah, and she's bobbed her hair. So she's telling us how old she is. Also the deco influence on the bottom here. These are probably circa 1930, 1929, 1930, something like that. So we have metal items that have applied patinas, and we also have an example of an electroformed piece. I think the sun is going down, and as well as this japanned piece or oxidized copper, however you like it. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you now that both of these lamps are in the eBay store right now, but I listed them as a buy it now. They're not up for auction. That means whoever gets there first and decides that they want to purchase these for their home decorating, they'll get them. So if by chance you go to the eBay store and you say, Scott, I can't find them, that means somebody got there first. I hope it's you. And remember, always think about subscribing to the eBay store, because when you do, you'll get notifications when new items are listed. So right now, buy it now prices in the eBay store, and I'm going to be listing additional items, many additional items over the next several days as I'm continuing to put more items back into my eBay store. Well, again, very quick, very elementary. I hope you enjoyed this little discussion, and if you have any questions, but definitely if you can add to the discussion, and I'm sure you can, talk about it in the comment section below. Well, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to join me and Patrick, the trusty huckster, tomorrow night, right here on this channel at 8 p.m. We're going to have another Unbreakables live sale. What am I selling? I think I'll probably show you on Monday morning. How about we do that? I'll come back with a Monday morning preview, a Monday night preview, but I'll bring it to you Monday morning. Until then, I'm Scott saying thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful Sunday evening. Wait for the cat. And so long for now. Now, I either need to put some clothes on her or turn up the heat, because she's making me cold. Come on, sweetie, let's put you back where you belong.